Hello, beautiful souls. You feel like you're living in between two worlds right now. Time feels warped. You're starting to see the world differently. If you are, good job. You are on the path. You're walking the healing transformation path. As you keep walking, you are on the spiritual path of awakening. And I am making this video just to bring some comfort that if you are feeling disoriented, if your perception is shifting, that is happening because you've been doing the work, the inner work. You've been releasing fear, which summarizes breaking free from your perceptions, beliefs from the past. You're no longer hijacked by the past. You're no longer hijacked by fear. And you're starting to wake up to the true reality, which is love. Now, it's a state of consciousness, because a lot of you might say, I'm not seeing any love around me, Alex. I just see a chaotic world. Wow. It's a state of consciousness first, because everything that we see in the world has been created by us, has been created by what we value, what we desire, and then from that, how we act, because energy creates matter. So this world, a lot of the chaos we see, has been created, that's the proof, has been created out of fear, out of judgment, out of seeing what is wrong with the world. It's coming from that consciousness. It's a low density consciousness. So the good news is, if the low level consciousness of fear can create a world of aggression, violence, disconnection, what could the consciousness of love, unity create? I hope you're getting curious about that. And how do we begin? With ourselves. And no, we don't need 51% of the world to be in this consciousness. There's a debate about the number, how many people. But if you study the work of Dr. David Hawkins, who wrote the famous book Power versus Force, many other books, he came up with a scale of consciousness. He says, I can't remember the numbers, but something like each time one person starts vibrating more at the level, I think is 200, 300, the level of courage, and then keeps ascending and keeps ascending and starts vibrating more on the level of compassion, love, unity, that person can make a difference, I think, in the vibration, the life of 1,000 people. This has been proved over and over. There's work of other teachers that brought groups praying. They were praying in communities. They went to very violent communities in the East Coast, and they just prayed together for days. And the level of violence, the level of crime in those areas decreased. That's data. Decreased while those people were praying. Why? Because it shifted the level of consciousness. It shifted the energy in the area. So as we wake up, we are discovering the great power that we all have. And again, if you're doubting the power, just look at the power of fear, what has created. Imagine what the power of love will do. So it can feel, as you're on this path, that you're living between two worlds, because you are. It's like you have one foot in reality and one foot in this false reality, this false matrix that is driven by fear, is driven by guilt, control. So there's three things that can show up while you're in between these two worlds, and that's very important to know, because they can be traps if you're not conscious. Disorientation is one. You might feel like you're doing something wrong because you're disoriented. No. Welcome the disorientation. You walking through the bridge of change. You're walking between timelines, between worlds, literally, energetically. Second, fear might get louder inside you. Some events might happen in your life that will create more fear. Watch for that. It's a distraction. Their dark forces are going to try to keep you in fear and not awakening, because if you're awakened being, you can be controlled. And you help in this world to become a place of unity. And third, it's self-doubt. You're going to be doubting what you're experiencing. Let's say you are becoming a little more psychic, or you are just seeing things, you're having more déjà vus, for example, or your intuition is increasing. You might be receiving messages from the spiritual field, and you're going to doubt yourself. Well, that's also what the darkness wants you to do. Self-doubt is something that has tried to distract me a lot on this path. So disorientation, fear, self-doubt. A client of mine yesterday asked me a very important question. She's been doing the work with me for a while, and she started to awaken. She's like, I'm seeing it. I'm seeing the false matrix. I feel like I'm living between two worlds. And it was very comforting for her to hear from me that it's like, yes, you are, and that's a great sign. It's because you live in the old world behind. The old world is dying. The world is ending, which is the world that we know is ending. So she asked me, as she opens up, how can she protect herself from dark energies, dark forces? And if you get triggered with this conversation about darkness, I invite you to reflect on that. Because there are a lot of people that reject the darkness, say, no, it doesn't exist, it's not real. Well, I can agree with that. It's not real because only love is real, according to A Course in Miracles and many other ancient texts and teachings. And yet, in this physical world here, it does exist. We live in the world of polarities. And just like the light, the darkness has different levels of consciousness as well. So she asked me, how do I protect myself and don't attract this, what I call energetic black worms that can hijack your mind and pull you out of the path? The best protection is to stay present and stay current with what is happening in your emotional body and also in your mental body. If you have thoughts of self-doubt and you feed those thoughts, you are in fear. And when you're in fear, you don't know. We do this unconscious, of course. You making the field around you, your magnetic field, in a way weaker. There'll be holes there. It's a form of energy leak. And this called dark forces are very attracted by fear. They want you to be in fear. So it's like a unconscious invitation for fear, for the collective fear to get into your field. How do you know that's present? You start getting into a lot of rumination. You feel like no matter what practice you do, meditation, reading a text, those negative thoughts won't leave you alone. And that's how you know you are experiencing some darkness. Now, this work is a work of taking total responsibility for ourselves, including what's happening in our magnetic field. We're not victims. You're not just going to be a victim being attacked by dark forces, dark thoughts. There's something in you, in your body, that is attracting that. So the best protection is to go to the root of that fear inside you. What is causing you fear? Where's the insecurity coming from? And this is why the inner child work healing the young self, doing the work of forgiveness, seeing her, whatever that is. I was sitting with my 12-year-old this morning. There's a little residue of a place in me that has a hard time receiving love. So I did a little work with her. So this work, as advanced you might be in this path, you can never abandon the inner child work. We're always going to be purifying those aspects of ourselves. So the best protection is to stay present, go below your thoughts, and reflect on those thoughts too. What is the thought that's keeping you in fear? Say it out loud and be very clear in that moment. If you want to keep those thoughts, that's a moment of decision. You have free will. So in that moment you can decide, do I want to keep this thought? Is this thought true? Use your inner authority, your power. You can say aloud, this is not the truth. I'm releasing this. I don't need this thought. I don't value this thought. I know this video is getting way longer. I was going to do a longer version, but here it is. It's just flowing through me, so I'm just gonna publish as it is. All I wanted to say is, as we go deeper in this path, these dark energies can become very subtle. They sneak in. And again, this is not to create fear, but you have to be aware. As a teacher, it's my job to help my students to be aware of these energies, and I teach them. That's what we do in a lot of our sessions, is I teach them in that moment how to do the healing themselves until they get to a point they won't need me anymore. And that's my job, to just help my clients to ignite their own healer inside them, to warn them about the traps in this path. The brighter your light gets, at times you might attract some more challenging energies. But the main message for you to get, which I hope you do, don't fear. Don't fear any of these energies. They're not real. And at the same time, they exist here in this plane of consciousness. They're not real in a sense that they cannot take your mind away. Maybe momentarily, but you're gonna know, because your mental energy and your emotional energy will shift when those energies are present. For me, I know when these energies are present if I start engaging in thoughts of judgment or self-doubt, because self-doubt will generate judgments too. So when I'm in a space of judgment, I know there's some energies lurking around. In that moment, I sit and I ask myself, where am I holding fear? Where am I not free? And again, this is all the work I do myself every day. This is the work I teach my clients. So, are you feeling you're walking between two worlds? Welcome to the deep work, the Great Awakening. If you have any question, place under the comments. Book a free call if you're interested in this work, want to learn more about how I work with my clients. And for now, much love to you.